You think you know the man from his carefully orchestrated Instagram post or his public persona as a mogul. Think again. What lies beneath is far from a neat, polished empire. Here are 10 shocking, downright disturbing moments involving Diddy that somehow made it onto the camera, either literally or figuratively, and prove that his life is much more chaotic and controversial than the curated image he projects. Number 10, the infamous freak-off parties. Let's not beat around the bush. One of the most unsettling revelations about Diddy's off-camera life involves what's been dubbed the freak-offs. These weren't your average after-parties, but rather multi-day, substance-fueled, intimate marathons that Diddy allegedly orchestrated. We're talking about organized, multi-person intimate acts involving hired workers, plenty of narcotics, and apparently enough baby oil to stock a pharmacy. This isn't just casual partying. It was a maliciously planned event, complete with Diddy directing the performances. And yes, there are claims he filmed it all. But here's the kicker. These recordings weren't just for his own collection. They were allegedly served as blackmail material. Talk about leveraging your hobbies for some control. Authorities later found evidence of these parties in the form of tapes during a raid on Diddy's properties in Miami and Los Angeles, along with an alarming amount of party supplies like baby oil and substances. It's not like every day you hear about someone needing over 1,000 bottles of baby oil for their entertainment purposes. This wasn't your typical rap mogul eccentricity. It was something much darker. Number 9, the Cassie assault caught on tape. You probably remember Cassie Ventura, the singer Diddy dated for years. What many didn't know until it surfaced in the news was that their relationship was far from healthy. In fact, it veered into physical abuse territory. In 2016, security footage emerged showing Diddy in nothing but a towel and socks physically attack Cassie in a hotel hallway. Yep, Diddy, looking like he just stepped out of the shower, was caught on tape chasing Cassie down a hotel corridor, punching, kicking, and dragging her. He even shelled out $50,000 to buy the footage from the hotel to keep it from going public. Spoiler alert, it didn't work. To make matters worse, this wasn't just a one-time incident. Cassie later filed a lawsuit against Diddy, claiming he had trafficked her, been violent, and committed physical and intimate violence over their decade-long relationship. She described his pattern of violent outbursts, recounting instances where he threw vases at her, beat her until she had black eyes, and subjected her to his dangerous, substance-fueled lifestyle. The case was settled out of court, but the damage was already done. Number 8, creepy hidden cameras in his homes. As if his parties weren't weird enough, Diddy also reportedly had hidden cameras set up throughout his properties. These cameras weren't for standard security purposes either. They were allegedly used to film intimate moments without the knowledge or consent of the people involved. This is next level creepy. According to a former employee, the footage was used to exert control over individuals, further deepening the murky ethical swamp Diddy seems to wade through on a regular basis. Imagine inviting someone to your home only to find out later that they've got secret footage of your every move. Number 7, Diddy's alleged arson tactics. When people talk about settling scores, most don't jump straight to arson, but Diddy apparently is not most people. Allegedly, the music mogul has been linked to setting fires as a method of intimidating those who cross him. You know, the usual, if you don't fall in line, something might just accidentally catch fire. Rumors suggest that Diddy's associates have used arson to send messages to rivals or people who dared to challenge him. For a man so concerned with maintaining his empire, setting fire to stuff seems a little counterproductive, don't you think? But then again, Diddy has never been one to play by the rules. Number 6, weapon stashes that rival an action movie. During one of the federal raids on his properties, authorities authorities found something even more alarming than tapes and baby oil: a stockpile of weapons. Among these weapons were AR-15 rifles with defaced serial numbers, raising serious questions about what exactly Diddy was preparing for. It's one thing to enjoy luxury cars and champagnes, but stashing military-grade weapons? That takes paranoia to a whole new level. Perhaps Diddy was gearing up for a war we never knew about, or maybe he was just trying to keep his dark secrets safely hidden behind locked doors. Either way, it's an unsettling glimpse into the kind of life he leads. Number 5. Substance-fueled intimate wild parties and forced recoveries. We're circling back to the freak-offs for a second because the extent of Diddy's wild lifestyle just keeps getting more disturbing. These parties didn't just revolve around alcohol and a little weed. Diddy allegedly provided a smorgasbord of substances from cocaine to ecstasy to keep the energy going. But here's the truly insane part. After days of rampant substance use and physical exertion, partygoers would allegedly receive IV drips to help them recover. Yeah, that's right. These parties were so intense that medical intervention was required to get everyone back on their feet. It's like Diddy had his own twisted version of a wellness retreat, except instead of yoga and smoothies, there was substances, intimate activity, and recovery fluids. Number 4. Coercing and threatening victims. Diddy isn't just a mogul. He's apparently a master of manipulation. Reports suggest that he has gone to extreme lengths to keep his victims quiet, from threats of violence to ruining their careers. He allegedly monitored some of his victims' movements, tracked their medical records, and even dictated their physical appearances. Talk about micromanaging. For someone who's built his image on freedom and creativity, it seems like Diddy has a very narrow, controlling view when it comes to the people around him. Number 3. Harassment by phone, the unseen threat. As allegations against Diddy started to pile up, he didn't just sit back and let it unfold. Instead, he reportedly took matters into his own hands by harassing his victims over the phone. Sources say he made numerous calls to individuals, trying to convince them to stay silent and even offering up fake versions of events for them to stick to. Imagine getting a late-night call from Diddy himself offering you a deal to rewrite your traumatic experiences. That's not just manipulative, it's downright terrifying. Number 2. A decade of blackmail and leverage. Those tapes we mentioned earlier, they weren't just for Diddy's private viewing pleasure. It's alleged that he used the recordings of his freak-offs to blackmail individuals, threatening to release the footage if they didn't comply with his demands, whether it's for professional favors, silence, or something else entirely. Diddy allegedly had an entire arsenal of leverage to wield against those who crossed him. For someone who preaches empowerment and self-ownership, it's ironic, no, hypocritical, that Diddy was using such underhand methods to keep people in line. Number 1. The settlements speak volumes. It's worth noting that most of these incidents have ended in out-of-court settlements, with Diddy cutting checks left and right to make sure certain stories don't see the light of day. Whether it's Cassie's lawsuits or others who have accused him of similar crimes, the money has flowed. But the silence speaks volumes. After all, you don't settle unless there's something to settle for. Diddy might not admit to wrongdoing, but his checkbook seems to tell a different story. While the world of hip-hop is no stranger to controversy, Diddy's life off-camera shows just how far some are willing to go to maintain power and control.